This video is sped up by 4 times and in 60 FPS, so you can slow down the playback to 0.25 to watch it in real time, 15 FPS. So in this video I will build a rig, paint the weight, pose the character, and sculpt the shape key to correct the deformation where it is not correct. So first is to build a rig. I could use the Rigify add-on, but it has been some time since the last time I built a rig. So for this project I felt more like building the rig myself. So yeah, I built a simple rig with a head, torso, and arms. One thing to remember when building a rig is to always make sure to name all the bones correctly. The left bones have .L capital at the end and the right bones have .R capital at the end. This will help Blender identify the mirroring bones and weight groups later on. The upper arm as well as the forearm require 2 bones each. The first one is for rotation and the second one for twisting. Once the rig is complete, I bind the mesh to the rig using automatic weight and then paint over the generated weight. The weight painting can never be perfect. There will always be something wrong with the deformation. This is because the deformation is based entirely on the bone rotation. To make a plausible deformation, we need to simulate the muscles and skin physics, which is not available in Blender at this point. There is actually an add-on being sold on Blender Market to simulate muscles, but I have not tried it yet, so no comment. So here, I rely on the good old bone rotation technique to make the initial deformation, and I try to paint the weight to a good enough state. Now, it is time to extend the rig to control the eyes. The eye part is a little bit more complex since there must be some constraints to drive the eye direction. Again, you can slow down the video to 25% to see exactly what I do in real time. Now the rig is complete, it is time to start posing the character. You can see that the deformation is not good just yet. The shoulder and the armpit are hideous. So the next step is to create a shape key to correct the deformation. At this point I realized there is a bug. You can see that the rest pose of the arm is flickering on the screen as I sculpt, and the shape keep reverting back to the original deformation. So I duplicate the mesh, apply all the modifiers including the armature, and sculpt the deformation fix on the duplicated mesh. I did this because I plan to use the corrective shape key add-on to make the duplicated mesh into a shape key for the original mesh. Unfortunately, I found out that the corrective shape key add-on is not yet available in Blender 2.8, and I wonder if it will be available at all. So at this point I almost came to conclusion that Blender 2.8 is not yet usable, and the series must be delayed at least until they fix the bug. But before I give up, I found out that a few days ago my assistant Lucy successfully sculpted a shape key in another project using the same version of Blender that I was using at this point in time. So maybe it's just because my computer. So I made some experiments. I did not record it though, and in the end of the experiment I found out that the bug is in the mirror modifier. So I just apply it and the bug is gone. Now I am able to sculpt the fix for the bad deformation without any trouble. You can see that the anatomy-based topology is working its magic. Just a little bit of sculpting and I was able to fix the deformation around the shoulder. Once the shape key is done, I animate the weight along with the animation of the rig. Now it's time to add the light and make some test renders. So here I'm experimenting with some different lighting setups. Now the light setup is done and the test render is here. It revealed a lot of flaws that need to be addressed, so I have some clues to continue fixing the body until I have a nice looking result. And the test render also revealed a lot of flaws in the face, and at this point I know what to fix, but more on that later. She has been naked the whole time, and it is getting weird now that the render is getting more realistic. So the next thing to do is to make the clothing before fixing the face. So yeah, in the next video we will jump over to Marvelous Designer to tailor the clothing.